Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Jaralma Dushinjaral. On the News Mongolia today, reconstruction of the new Haram city begins. About 67% of all babies are born prematurely in Mongolia. Mongolia's permanent representative to the United Nations participated in the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Automated System for Customs Data Advisory Board meeting. For the news, stay with us. The reconstruction of Haram city officially commenced on June 15th, marked by the ceremonial hoisting of the Mongolian state flag at the Great Khan's Garden, following a presidential decree by President of Mongolia, Hursuhukhna. This initiative stems from a 2022 decree issued on the 860th anniversary of the birth of the great Chinggis Khan, declaring the rebuilding of Haram in the Orkhon Valley, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In the past month and a half, more than 800 people from 40 public and private organizations, including mining and tree planting companies, have contributed to the planting of over 550,000 trees. 11,000 trees have been planted in the Great Khan's Garden through public-private collaboration. 13,000 square meters of parking areas and 11,000 square meters of sidewalks have been completed, along with the installation of lighting, irrigation systems, and wells. The city's design prioritizes green development, with plans to plant and nurture over 1 million conifers and leafy trees across 1,500 hectares.
In rebuilding Karakoram in the vast valley of Orkhon River, we must embody the grandeur and legacy of over 800 years ago, the image and power of the great Khans. This reconstruction must be rooted in historical records, archaeological findings, and clear evidence. Our task is not small. We must prioritize major construction projects, such as roads, railways, airports, energy and heat sources, waste processing plants, water treatment facilities, green urban parks, agricultural clusters, and restoration of rivers and lakes. I call upon the government, the private sector, and every citizen to take part in this historic mission. The revival of Karakoram requires not only time and financing, but also labor, dedication, and a shared national commitment.
Haram city is envisioned as a smart urban center expected to accommodate 500,000 residents and create 285,000 jobs, contributing to regional development. The city will host government and administrative institutions, diplomatic missions, international organizations, and modern infrastructure, including healthcare, cultural centers, housing, tourism, and high-tech industries. The city's master plan designates 50% of the area for green space, 30% for buildings, and 20% for roads. Designed to decrease population density in Ulaanbaatar and address environmental issues such as traffic congestion and pollution, the project is backed by legislation approved by Parliament and supported by the Ulaanbaatar Governor's Office, the City Council, and the Council of Scholars. Ongoing projects also include restoring the Hukshung Orkhon River, Hilti White Lake, and the ruins of the ancient capital with 189,000 hectares in Urhanga and Arhanga provinces designated for special state use. 67% of all babies in Mongolia are born prematurely, a figure that has not declined in recent years. Factors such as air and environmental pollution, maternal nutrition issues, and stress all contribute to the risk of premature birth. Doctors are emphasizing the need to improve medical care and services for premature infants and to significantly reduce air and environmental pollution to ensure these babies grow up healthy. Birth before 37 weeks of pregnancy is considered preterm. Although the number of premature births in Mongolia is relatively low compared to other countries, the survival rate of these infants remains a concern. For instance, the survival rate of babies weighing less than 1,000 grams is only 27%. This ongoing issue, which has not seen improvement year over year, is influenced by various factors, including air and environmental pollution and the mother's health conditions. Air pollution reaches the baby through the placenta. This means that air pollution has a severely negative impact on the health of pregnant women and newborns. Premature babies often have underdeveloped lungs, and when lung development is insufficient, the child is at risk of oxygen deficiency and developing chronic lung diseases. Providing medical care for premature newborns in rural areas is challenging from the moment they are born, starting with transportation. Healthcare workers in Arhanga province often have to drive for many hours to transfer a premature baby from a home to the province center. To prevent the newborn from getting cold during the long journey, they wrap the baby to keep it as warm as possible and try to manage with the resources available. In developed countries, premature babies are transported in incubators to ensure their safety. There are many challenges when it comes to transporting a premature newborn and a mother who has just given birth, whether they are transported together or separately. As a developing country, Mongolia still faces limitations in providing full and accessible medical support. That's why, in many cases, we are compelled to transfer patients to the province general hospital for further care.
Remote homes are typically located about 200 to 220 kilometers from the province center. Preterm births usually occur around 3 to 4 times a year in these areas. Transportation remains a critical issue in rural regions, especially for premature and low birth weight infants who are at high risk of complications due to exposure to the cold, infections, and other health hazards during transfer.
In recent years, many countries around the world have adopted kangaroo care to improve the survival and development of premature babies. Mongolia has also begun introducing these methods. The baby is placed in a special wrap and positioned upright against the mother's bare chest, allowing direct skin-to-skin contact. To ensure the baby's airway remains clear, the baby is positioned so that the mother can see the baby's face at all times. This skin-to-skin contact creates a warm, secure, and nurturing environment that is highly beneficial and comforting for the baby. Using kangaroo care helps prevent sudden infant death syndrome in premature babies. Most importantly, it protects the baby from hypothermia. This type of care is not only crucial during the neonatal period, but also plays a significant role in the child's long-term development. It positively influences the baby's cognitive and emotional growth. Kangaroo care is being practiced for only 20% of all premature babies, but there is a goal to fully implement the practice in the future. Meanwhile, doctors emphasize that improving air and environmental quality is essential to reducing the number of premature babies. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at Mongolian current affairs. On June 16th, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of Mongolia to the United Nations Office and other international organizations in Geneva, Davasoran Girilma, took part in the Advisory Board meeting of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Automated System for Customs Data. Since 2024, Ambassador Girilma has served as a distinguished member of the Automated System for Customs Data Advisory Board, where she actively contributes to the strategic direction, oversight, and sustained impact of this globally recognized initiative. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Automated System for Customs Data is operational in over 100 countries. It plays a vital role in modernizing customs procedures and improving trade efficiency through the implementation of automated customs management systems. During the meeting, the advisory board reviewed recent program developments, trade technology innovations, and opportunities for strengthening international partnerships. Here are the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Next, our program will turn our attention to foreign news, partnered with international news agencies. A new hunger hotspots report from the United Nations World Food Programme and the Food and Agriculture Organization is sounding the alarm on worsening hunger in 13 countries. The report, released Monday, highlights Gaza, Sudan, South Sudan, Haiti, and Mali as being at immediate risk of famine without urgent international aid. In Gaza, the entire population of 2.1 million faces acute food insecurity by September, with nearly 500,000 at risk of famine. Experts blame Israel's ongoing military campaign and aid restrictions. In Sudan, nearly half the population, about 24.6 million people, are facing critical food shortages, following more than a year of conflict between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces.
Conflict is the main driver of crisis. We identify 5 countries or territories of highest concern. This is Sudan, South Sudan, Palestine, Mali, and Haiti. And conflict is driving very high levels of acute food insecurity. That's why we highlight these places. There's an ongoing famine in Sudan and also a risk of famine in the case of Gaza. And all of those are driven by conflict and lack of access for humanitarians.
In South Sudan, emergency hunger levels are reported in most of Upper Nile state, while in Haiti, gang violence has displaced over 1.3 million people. 2 million Haitians are facing severe food insecurity, with thousands in the most extreme famine-like conditions.
Over the next few months, we're very concerned about the reduction in humanitarian funding, which will lead to a decline in assistance. That means smaller rations and reduced numbers of people receiving much-needed humanitarian assistance in some of the world's most vulnerable countries.
As the UN marks the 80th anniversary of its founding, its humanitarian agencies are facing one of the greatest crises in decades. Funding from key donors like the US and other Western countries is being slashed, just as global needs, particularly for food aid, continue to rise. Alright, that's all for today. Thanks for your attention. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.